Okay, how you guys doing there? Hopefully you're doing well. We're getting about ready to start section 4-3 for Algebra 2 here. I'm going to post this on Tuesday, January 12th. It's actually Sunday, Sunday, January 10th right now. Making this video, but I'm not going to post it until Tuesday on the 12th, and this assignment's going to be due on Thursday, the 14th. So that's section 4-3. So far, this chapter we've added polynomials. Hopefully you thought that was pretty easy, just adding like terms. Subtracted polynomials, that's where you just subtract them, like terms, that's not that more difficult. Multiplying polynomials, that took a little bit longer, so you might be wondering, are we ever going to divide polynomials? Well, the answer is yes, and that's what this section is about, is dividing polynomials. And you're not going to like this section, I'm going to tell you that right now. You're really not going to like it at the beginning, but hopefully there's really two things you have to learn in this section. And the first thing you're going to learn, you're not going to like so much. I can't stress enough, when you're doing these problems, take your time, show your work, try to be as accurate as possible. Don't be sloppy writing all over the place, because it can get really confusing, okay? So I would encourage, when you're watching these examples, maybe watch them 2 or 3 times before you actually dive into your own assignments, because these can be kind of tricky. They're definitely kind of tricky. It would be much better if we were doing this in class, but we're not going to be in class for another week, hopefully. Hopefully about a week from now we'll be back in school. That's what I'm hoping for. So anyhow, dividing polynomials, okay? If I was to give you, okay, and we're going to dive right in on question number 5, but we're actually going to kind of do 2 problems at the same time, okay? So, question number 5, and what I mean is this. Question number 5 says x squared plus x minus 17, x squared plus x minus 17. Now, first thing I would do, I'm going to write this problem down. If it was me, if I was you guys, though, I would not write this. Well, maybe this first one, write it down like this. But what we're going to do is we're immediately going to change this question the way it looks in just a second, okay? And what I mean is this. If I was to give you something such as this, if I was to give you, this is where we're going to do two questions at the same time, okay? If I was to give you 27,458 divided by 13, okay? If I was to ask you that, first off, I have absolutely no idea what the answer is, and I don't really care what the answer is, okay, for right now. But if I was to say, do this without a calculator, okay? Now, it's probably been a while since I've done a problem like that without a calculator, back in middle school, okay? But hopefully you remember that the first thing you do is you would write 13 and then a little box thing, and then 27,458, okay? So what I said was, as soon as we write this down, we're going to rewrite it, okay? Instead of saying this divided by this, we're going to say this goes into that. X minus 4 goes into x squared plus x minus 17, okay? Now, if I was to have you do this question right here, hopefully you would say, okay, well, 13 goes into 27 twice, okay? Perfect, if you remember that, okay? If not, then hopefully that comes back to you. 13 goes into 27 twice. Now, I want to point out, have we even looked at the 4 and the 5 and the 8 yet? No, we haven't. All we look at is 13 and 27, okay? And it goes in there twice. So you do the same thing over here. You don't look at the whole problem. You look at just x and just x squared. Don't worry about the other stuff. We'll deal with that eventually, okay? So we ask ourselves, how many times does x go into x squared? What do we multiply x by to make x squared? We multiply it by x. X times x is x squared. So I put an x right here, okay? X goes into x squared, x times, okay? Now, if I ping pong back over here, then what I do is I will put a 26 here. Where did 26 come from? 2 times 13 is 26. So we take x times all of this, not just x times x, but x times x and x times negative 4. X times x is x squared. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. Then what I do over here? I subtract. So guess what I do over here? I subtract both of these. Okay, this is where it gets tricky. Watch carefully. If you're going to make a mistake, here's where it is. X squared minus x squared, that's gone. Then it's x minus 4x. Minus minus plus plus, that's 5x. Okay? Then what do I do over here? Well, you say, well, I drop down the 4. Okay? And that's not wrong. That's not wrong. Okay? You know what you could have done, though? And I don't think most elementary teachers teach this, and that's okay. I probably wouldn't either. Instead of just dropping down the 4, I like to drop down everything else. Okay? So, in this case, I'm only going to drop down the minus 17. Now, a lot of students, they get to this point, like, I can get to this point, then I get stuck. I don't understand that, because you know what you do next? One word. You repeat it. You repeat. That's what you do. We say 13 goes into 14 once. And then you take just your new number, just 1 times 13, and get 13. So we ask ourselves, how do we make x 5x? we times by 5. Now don't just put a 5 here, okay? You got to put something in between there. You didn't say negative 5, so we assume it's a positive 5. And then again, we didn't take both 21 times 13 to get this, we just took the new number times 13. So we take the new number 5 times each of these. 5 times x is 5x, 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. Then what do? We subtract. What do we do over here? We subtract both of these. Again, this is where mistakes take place. 5x minus 5x, most students have no problem with that, but it's negative 17 minus 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 plus plus, that's 3, okay? And then what I do over here, I drop stuff down again, 5, 8, okay? I can't drop anything down here though, okay, because there's nothing left, okay? So, how do you make x into just a 3? Well, guess what? You can't, okay? There's no x there, okay? So this is your remainder. Now, when you were in middle school, you would put R3, okay? This is your answer, remainder 3. Okay, that's when you were a kid. You're big boys and girls now, though, okay? So we're not going to just say R3. That's not the way we're going to write it, okay? If I was to give you this, let's do another division problem. If I said $11 split 2 ways, you guys know that $11 split 2 ways. If you have $11, you split it between you and a friend. The answer would be $5.50, okay? You get 5.5, $5.50, and $5.50 is $11, okay? Well, where did this 1/2 come from? 1 is your remainder divided by 2, so it's 5 and 1/2. So the answer is x plus 5 and 3 over x minus 4. So don't put R3, put plus 3 over x minus 4. And that's your answer, okay? Now, it's a little confusing. I would strongly encourage this. If you're sitting around, I don't quite get this, I would hit stop, I would back up, and I would watch this again. The next problem is going to be the same problem, just different numbers, okay? But watch these several times, okay? These are tough. These are not fun to do, okay? I totally get that. These are not fun, okay? Now, I will tell you this. I said there's 2 things that you're going to learn in this section. This is far and away the harder thing, okay? The second thing we learn is much, much easier, okay? Okay, so number 7, we have x3 plus x squared plus x plus 2. x3 plus x squared plus x plus 2 divided by what? X squared minus 1. X squared minus 1. I'll tell you what, so I don't have to keep on staring. We're getting right in the camera's view when I grab the textbook. So I'm going to keep on extreme close up there. Okay. I look bad enough far away. I don't need to get right in the camera and have a close-up of my ugly face. Okay, so again, here's the problem says, and this may sound stupid, but make sure you write the problem down right, okay? Make sure x3, x2, x and 2, x squared minus 1. Okay, so we have x squared minus 1 goes into x3 plus x squared plus x plus 2, okay? So we only look at the first terms, x2 times x3. Now be careful here, okay? Some students will say you can't turn x2 into x3. Yes, you can, okay? Because remember, when you times, we add our exponents. What do we multiply x squared by to make x to the third? X. X times x2 is x3. We times each of these by x. Now, one more thing you want to be careful on here is this. X times x2 is x3, and negative 1 times x is negative x. There's nothing wrong with what I just did, but I would caution against it, okay? Because we're going to subtract now, but you're going to subtract like terms. These are like terms. These are not like terms. I would put this negative x, line them up. You don't have to, but it's a whole heck of a lot easier, and it's real simple to make mistakes if you don't line them up right, okay? So we subtract now. x3 minus x3 cancel. If you're wondering, did the first term always cancel? If you're doing it right, they do, okay? First term should always cancel. Now x squared minus, there's nothing there, so it stays x squared. Then x minus minus, these don't cancel, be careful, it's minus minus, which is plus plus. It's really x and x, which is 2x. Now if you're going, I thought we were subtracting, we are. Taking x, subtract negative x. Minus minus plus plus is 2x, okay? And then we repeat it. How do I make x squared x squared? What do I multiply something by to keep it the self? 1. X squared times, not 1x, just 1. So, and I didn't say negative 1, so it's positive 1. 1 times x squared is x squared. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1, but I'm not going to write negative 1 here. I'm going to write it right here. And then we subtract. X squared minus x squared is gone. 2x minus nothing stays 2x. 2 minus minus 1 minus minus is plus plus, which is 3. Then we do it again, if possible. how do you make x squared 2x? You can't. Because remember, you have to add. How do you make x squared into an x? It goes down. So that's your remainder. You can't, x squared can't go into 2x. It's too big. Okay? So that's our remainder. So we say plus, because it's not negative, 2x plus 3 over x squared minus 1. Okay? I anticipate some of you might have a problem with typing in the answers on your assignment. If you have problems with that, just email me and I'll try to work your way through it, okay? All right, let's try one more of these tough ones, okay? Now, good news, bad news. These problems are not real fun. And there's not a whole lot of questions to do on them, which is good. You're like, good, I don't like doing these. But there's gonna be a question like this on your next test. Okay? You gotta be able to do these, okay? So, we only got one more of these really difficult ones, and then we'll do some easier ones, okay? All right, so number 9, we have 5x4 minus 2x3. Minus 2x3 minus 7x squared. Okay, then what? Minus 39 divided by something. X squared plus 2x minus 4. X squared plus 2x. X squared plus 2x minus 4. X squared minus 4. Okay. All right, I just want to make sure I'm getting these. There's just no, like I say, I make mistakes too. I just want to make sure that I'm not doing these. Yep, I got that one right. Okay, just want to make sure I'm checking my answers here. Okay, so we write x squared plus 2x minus 4 goes into, now this one's a little tricky. Okay, I'm going to show you something. And if you look at it, you might say, well, it doesn't look any different. It looks a little bigger, but still, same old thing. Yeah, just be careful here. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put 5x4 minus 2x3 minus 7x squared. Now notice there are no x's there. You don't have to do this, but I would really encourage you to do. There are no x's there. One x to the 4th, x to the 3rd, x to the 2nd. There's no x's in 39. It didn't skip here, x to the 3rd, x to the 2nd, x to the 1st, and a number. It didn't skip any. This one skips an x. So I would really encourage you to put plus 0x, not 1x. And don't just put x, because x is 1x. There are no x's there. Then put negative 39. This is like a placeholder. Okay? You don't have to do that. I would encourage you to do that. Okay? If you don't put the placeholder in there, it's very simple to combine unlike terms, which will get you the wrong answer. So a lot of stuff here, but you only look at the first one and the second one. What do I multiply x squared by to make 5x to the 4th? Well, we multiply by 5x squared, because 5x squared times x squared times x squared is x to the 4th, 5x to the 4th. Times all three of these by 5x squared. 5x squared times x squared is 5x4. 5x squared times 2x is 10. Remember, when you times, you add the exponents, so 10x to the 3rd. Negative 4 times 5x squared is negative 20x squared. And we subtract. This minus this, they cancel. Negative 2 minus 10 more. Negative 2 minus 10 more is negative 12x3. Negative 7 minus is plus plus. That's really a positive. Negative 7 and 20 is 13x squared. Drop down 0x minus 37. And then you repeat it. Do the same process over. X squared, negative 12x3. What do I times x squared by to make negative 12x3? Do that, you get negative 12x. x2 times x is x3, so negative 12x. Negative 12x times each of these. Negative 12x times x2, negative 12x3. Negative 12x times 2x is negative 24x squared. A lot of students will forget that. They'll say 2 times 12 is 24x. Negative 24x squared. X times x is x squared. And watch the negative. Negative 4 times negative 12, and negative times a negative is a positive 48x. Then we subtract. Minus minus, plus plus, those cancel. 13 minus minus is plus plus. 13 and 24 is 37x squared. 0 minus 48 is negative 48x. Drop down your negative 39. And then we do it again. How do you make x squared 37x squared? We times by positive 37. So 37 times each of these. 37 times x squared is 37x squared. 37 times 2 is 74x. 37 times 4 is negative 148. For the third time, we subtract. 37 minus 37 is gone. Negative 48 minus 74 more. Negative 48 minus 74 more is 122. Negative 122x. Negative 39 minus minus 148 minus minus plus plus. So a negative 39 and a positive 148 is a positive 109. Do we do it a fourth time? How do you make x squared 122x? You can't. It's a higher degree. So that's your remainder. So plus negative 122x plus 109 plus 109 over x squared plus 2x minus 4. Make sure I got that one right. There's a lot of nasty numbers in there, and that is correct. Yes. Okay? All right. So that's long division with polynomials. Okay? I told you at the beginning you're not going to like this section. Okay? But there's only like 3 or 4 questions you have to do like that. Now, there's 2 things in this section, though. We said there's long division, and there's also something called synthetic division. Now, you have never done this before, okay? But I really think that you're going to like this a whole lot better than this, okay? Every year, I always ask students when we're all done, I say, what do you like better, long division or synthetic? And almost everybody's like, oh, I like synthetic so much better. But there's always one person that's like, I like long division better. And my response is, you're nuts. There's no way. I don't know how you can think that this is easier than synthetic, whatever synthetic is, okay? I'm going to show you what synthetic division is, okay? So, just so you understand, on your next test that we take in a few weeks or so, there's going to be a question on there that says, do this problem with long division, okay? And you got to show it long. If you use synthetic division, again, whatever that is, if you use the wrong method, if you say, I'm only going to use synthetic, there's going to be a question like this that says use long division. If you use synthetic and you get the right answer, you're still going to get marked wrong. You got to show me that it works, both ways, okay? And the reason is synthetic doesn't always work, okay? It doesn't always work. It depends on the problems, okay? You couldn't use synthetic on this one, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes, okay? All right, so number 11, we have x squared plus 8x plus 1. X squared plus 8x plus 1 divided by x minus 4. Okay, so here's what you do. The first thing you do is this. And this what's nice about synthetic, I'm going to do the same problem over and over and over. Okay, just different numbers. Okay? So here's what I do. I draw a part of a box. Okay, you only draw these two, you don't draw all 4 sides, you just draw these 2 sides. And in this particular box, I'm going to put a 4. And then on this top line, I'm going to write a 1, an 8, and a 1. Now, where the heck did those numbers come from? Okay? Well, 1, 8, 1 is the coefficients. 1, x squared, 8, x, and 1. 1, 8, 1. Now, where did this 4 come from? It's the opposite of this. If this said x plus 4, I would have put minus 4 here. So it's the opposite of this number right here, okay? Then I'm going to leave a line right here and draw a line. And then I'm going to put a 1 right here. Now, where did that 1 come from? It's really, really, really simple. You know what I do with this first number? Drop it down, okay? Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a number right here and put the number 4. Now, where did that 4 come from? You might be thinking, oh, I just put that number right there. No. You do 2 operations over and over and over when you use synthetic, okay? You multiply, and then you add, over and over and over. So where did this 4 come from? We took this number, I dropped this 1 down, and I multiply by the magic number 4. 1 times 4 is 4. I multiply, then I add. So the next one I'm going to write is 12. Where did 12 come from? I added. I multiplied, I added. The next one I'm going to write is 48. Where did 48 come from? I multiplied, and then I added 49. Okay? Drop it down. Multiply, add. Multiply, add. Okay? Now we're almost done with this problem. Okay? Here's the deal. Think of these as like drawers in a cash register, okay? This right here are your 1s. These are your x's. I'm sorry. That's not 1s. That's totally wrong. This is your remainder. Just like your answer always ends with the remainder here. Your remainder, these are your 1s, your x's, your x squared. These are your 1s, these are the x's. There are no x squareds, okay? So there's 1x plus 12, don't put an x on it, plus 49 over what were you dividing by? Now what you were dividing by originally, you're dividing by x minus 4. And you're done. That's the problem. Now you could do this with the long division. If I wanted to, I'm going to do it real quick here. X minus 4, x squared plus 8x, x goes into x squared, x times each of these by x, you'd have x squared minus 4x, subtract, these are gone, 8 minus 4 is plus, which is 12x, drop down the 1, x times 12 is 12, x times what is 12x, 12, 12 times x is 12x, 12 times negative 4 is negative 48. Subtract, those are gone. 1 minus minus, minus minus is plus plus, which is 49. How do you make x 49? You don't. So that's plus 49 over x minus 4. And so look familiar? So which is the right way? They both are. But I want you to know synthetic also. Okay? Synthetic's quicker. I'm sorry. It's much, much quicker. All right? Now, if you're sitting there going, I like long division better, again, I think you're nuts, but on a test, if I say show this synthetically and you do a long division, you get the right answer, you're not going to get full credit. You're going to get very little credit. I want you to show me that you know both ways. And again, the reason why you need to know both ways is synthetic's quicker, but it doesn't always work. Okay? And again, I'll tell you when it does and when it doesn't in a second. Okay, so number 13, we have 2x squared minus x plus 7. Let's do 2x squared minus x. 2x squared minus x plus 7, x plus 5. X plus 5. What it says, yes it is. Okay, so we draw a little box. The opposite goes here, negative 5. And then we have 2, negative 1. So, and the only thing, notice in synthetic, you don't put variables in, except for at the very beginning when you write down the problem, at the very end when you write the answer. You don't put x's in. Okay, we draw our line, drop down the 2. Multiply to negative 10, add to negative 11. Multiply to 55, add to 62. This is our remainder. These are the 1's, these are the x's. There are no x squared. So there's 2 x's minus 11 plus 62 over what we divided by, x plus 5. Done. Okay. All right, next one, number 15. 2 more to go. All right, number 15. So 15, we have x squared, okay, this is a little tricky, x squared plus 9. Make a note here, this one's a tricky one. It's not any harder, it's just trickier. X minus 3. So, we draw a little box, we put the opposite of minus 3 there. And you might be saying, okay, so this line's going to be 1, 9. No, it's not. It's 1, 0, 9. Where the heck did the 0 come from? There's no x's. It went from x squared to 9. It skipped over the x's. You need, and if you don't put the 0 in, it will give you the wrong answer. We didn't have to worry about it here when x squared, then x, then a number. It didn't skip any of them, okay? So make sure you put the 9. Drop your 1, times to 3, add to 3. Times to 9, add to 18. This is our remainder. These are the 1's, these are the x's, okay? So it's 1x. Don't put 1x on the computer. The computer doesn't like 1x. Just put x. Plus 3, and again, it's not negative 3, so it's plus 3. Plus 18 over